YouTuber back again with some more Valorant, but it's time to jump into some esports lore. We're gonna check out a video by Comment called "The Rise and Fall of Demon1," who's we have reacted to a compilation of their clips, and it's on the channel. So I'm curious to see why is there a video on Comment's channel called "The Rise and Fall of Demon1." How did he rise? How did he fall? I will leave the link to the original video in the description down below. Go support the channel as well. And other than that, sit back. Let's dive into it.
Aim. It's a fundamental aspect of all shooters, the mechanical factor that determines how good a player is at clicking heads. If you've got great aim, you're probably at a high level in multiple games, but without it, you've got almost no chance of succeeding at the top level. But what would happen if you had a player with perfect aim? Well, they'd probably be the best player in the world. Meet Demon1, the closest player Valorant has ever had to a human aimbot. He consistently shattered the mechanical ceiling with his raw aim, emerging out of nowhere to become a world champion MVP and trash-talked everyone while doing it. But that was 2 years ago. Demon1 isn't a world champion anymore. In fact, he's not even on a tier 1 team, and his record in the past few years has been tragic. But to understand why all of this has happened, we need to go back to the 22nd of July 2020. Specific, I know, but Demon1 has just pressed upload on his first ever YouTube video, and he's called it 60Hz Operator Ownage. Valorant had just released for PC about a month earlier, and Demon1 had decided to put some of his nice operator clips into a montage. It's clear he's already got great aim, and hitting these shots on a humble 60Hz monitor is no joke.
That's actually
the mechanics you see here didn't start from Valorant. He played a few FPS games throughout 2020, including CS and Quake, but there was another game, a much more niche title, that he was obsessed with. A little game called Unreal Tournament 4. You might not know it, but Demon1 was a member of its small but dedicated player base. Quite a prominent member, actually, and he eventually started to emerge as one of the best UT4 players in the world. And while that might not have gotten much attention at the time, it's clear now that the mechanics he perfected during his time with Unreal Tournament were the foundations of his godlike aim that was soon to emerge.
It's funny because a lot of times, a lot of pro players, depending on the game, a lot of shooter games, some people originate from Halo, Gears of War. That's how it is for a lot of people. Or from Counter-Strike, they go to Valorant. That's how it goes down. So yeah, there's always like not a foundation, but there's always an origins. Not saying old players, but it's a good amount of players that's how it usually goes.
Valorant. After Demon1 shifted his focus away from Unreal Tournament, he began to realize how special his aim truly was. He was reaching top scores on the Aim Labs leaderboards, and after picking up Valorant again, soon reached a level where he could play amongst aspiring pros. Throughout 2022, he was entering every tier 2 or 3 tournament he could find, and despite never achieving amazing results, he began to form a reputation among the pro community as a scrim demon. He would consistently show individual brilliance against top teams in practice, and towards the end of 2022 and the open circuit era of Valorant, one of the teams who was set to join the Valorant Partnership Program took a chance on Demon1. But not for the actual roster. Evil Geniuses took an interesting approach to building their roster at the start of 2023, with a main team of 5 players and a reserve roster of 5 inexperienced prospects. Demon1 was called up to play in this reserve roster, once again forced to play his best behind the scenes. But I think it soon became clear to EG's coach Potter that Demon1 was no ordinary player. The main roster wasn't doing terribly by any means, losing a close game to Cloud9 in the first game of the regular season, and that was why has no fans. It's crazy. Extremely confused when out of nowhere, after one map of the EG vs 100 Thieves series, the broadcast team said this.
We actually just got breaking
What's the Golden Boy's name?
That's right.
Demon
is coming in and is subbed for BCJs.
Demon1 was subbing in. Not many fans even knew who he was, but this was his first chance to show the world his incredible mechanics on the big stage. But that wasn't really what happened. 100 Thieves just outclassed them on Icebox, and that gave Demon1 a lukewarm debut. But even though they lost, EG still went ahead with the roster move, tweeting probably the worst roster change post of all time to announce it. And even though this tweet made absolutely no sense, it was the roster.
Demon1 replacing BCJ to give open tryouts find the chance to show his skills as team continues to develop.
Change post of all time to announce it. And even though this tweet made absolutely no sense, it was the post that marked the true beginning of Demon1's indomitable rise through the Valorant scene.
Shots better from DG. Oh gosh! What was that?
With the help of Demon1's incredible mechanics, EG began to improve rapidly towards the end of the Americas regular season. But with their shaky start, they ended the league split with a 4-5 record, just good enough to have a chance to qualify. But it all rested on the final game of the season, 100 Thieves versus MIBR. MIBR were constantly getting destroyed week in and week out, and were having to play with their assistant coach, so this game looked like a done deal, assuming 100 Thieves didn't have one of the biggest fumbles we'd ever seen. But this is 100 Thieves we're talking about.
How bad is 100 Thieves? They're down 12-7.
Your turn, talk to
Wait, they don't know.
Shoot the fucking guy! It's calm!
I don't play Valorant. I know that shit is bad. I don't play Valorant. I know that shit is bad. What picking them shots on bomb defusal? And nah, it's crazy. It's sending the ass home too.
This miracle upset was the lifeline that EG needed. Now they'd made it to the regional playoffs.
He actually went
if they reached
bald.
top 3, they would not only qualify for the
Hey, a man of his words.
Tokyo, but also champions at the end
please
of the
clean
year.
it up.
And
Shit.
Demon1 was not going to let that chance get away.
Demon1 focusing here towards the pillar. Busio supporting with stars at least. The recall. Shot by Demon1 as Juggernaut plays the off angle and it connects. They've done it. EG has seized the moment and they've offset energy.
Well, Demon1 sets up here. He does not have dash anymore.
He doesn't have.
He don't need it. Doesn't need it. Let him stack.
I want it. The flash and the kill delivers. Evil geniuses.
Dominated Cloud9.
Tokyo.
Demon1 actually almost didn't go to Tokyo because of visa issues, but eventually he arrived in Japan and EG continued their miracle run. With Demon1 at the helm, EG went undefeated until the upper final, destroying international titans like Loud and Team Liquid. But the upper final was against the best team in Valorant history, Prime Fnatic, and on the biggest stage of his career, this would be
Fnatic
a true
ruled over
test
Valorant?
for Demon1.
Back towards you, back corner, Ethan's gonna trade out Leo. It ain't over yet, but maybe Chronicle, maybe not. Maybe it's Demon1. He's got the knives out. A 2v2, Alpha and Chronicle to try and get Fnatic across the line.
Oh my God.
He's trying
That's
to
big.
save them.
That's big.
It's Alpha.
12-10?
against Demon
I'll
now.
count.
Oh my God.
That's big.
This guy is out of this world. El Diablo's dead. There's new king of hell. Demon1. Grenade sent.
Someone told me that Diablo was an old player.
Running. 10 seconds now.
Demon1 is
They're working on the
take
clock
over.
here, running it down so low. Boaster
Basically, it's his
down
name.
64. Ethan gonna swap the cross. But it's Leo's got Juggernaut. Oh my God! Leo!
Off the plat.
Has taken Fnatic across the line.
In one of the best series in Valorant history, EG narrowly lost out to Fnatic on the final map of Split. They were sent down to the lower final against PaperX with a content creator sub, and won a close game over them to earn a spot in the grand final. A rematch against Prime Fnatic, with a double map ban disadvantage. Surely this was impossible. And
They
yeah,
pulled
it
imposters?
was. There
Oh,
was
alright.
just no beating Fnatic at Masters Tokyo, and EG had to settle.
The way he narrates is actually pretty funny because he's like, it's one of a kind of LeBron come back and goes to Golden State Warriors. No, he didn't this year. Next year he does. It's actually funny.
Second place. Demon1 had
Props.
played extremely well during this tournament, but it was also clear he hadn't quite reached his peak. But luckily for him, there was still one more tournament left in the year. Champions. EG was seen as the wholesome underdogs throughout their Tokyo run, but once Champions rolled around, they had garnered somewhat of a reputation
Damn.
as villains.
I don't ever be you. Damn.
Been talking some smack online a little bit, buddy. So how does it feel being the villain, the new villain of Valorant right now? Is it something you're embracing?
Honestly, I don't give a fuck what you guys say about me. You can call me whatever you want.
That's the right mindset, honestly. That's the right mindset.
Well, that was, yeah, sure. All
Yeah,
right, we'll go
don't let
with
shit
that
get to you.
Some people
Fuck
loved it, some people hated it, but either way, you simply had to watch. Their first playoff game was against EDG, and with Boostio's long memed "China will never be better than NA at Valorant" comment
lost,
before
they
the
jinxed
tournament
it.
began, this was an intense game for the fans. But
Yeah.
for Demon1, it was just another day at the office.
Towards 8.
It's a long rotation.
It is. It's a long way off. And look at Demon1. He's on a tear.
Aggressive as
And
fuck.
Chichu might be on a plateau. He is. Demon1. He's going to lose one. They're letting him do it. Demon1. Demon1 first on in. They try and clear through. Looks for the next target. Oh, it's gorgeous. Demon1.
Woo.
This guy is something else. And right now,
I'll say that so far,
EG
from all the plays we've seen,
absolutely
I think it's like his gameplay is satisfying because he
DRX
takes
was their
shots.
next matchup, and even if you
This
were a
with the tap
Demon1
fire?
hater,
I love
with
it.
the kind of things he was pulling off on the server, it was impossible to deny that he was the best mechanical player in the world.
The nade in the tower showstopper drawn out, but they do not suspect it whatsoever. Puzzle find Boostio. Smoke again coming down, but he spots the raise before the bloom. Swings on the
Ace.
corner.
Ace.
He's on for the ace.
Ace.
Zest lingering above.
Ace.
He spotted it. He's got it. 6 gets the one off the back of the ace. Demon1 shuts it down.
With this 2-0 win, EG had reached the upper final and guaranteed themselves a podium finish. But once again, this upper final would not be easy. If EG were the villains of Champs 23, PaperX were undoubtedly the heroes. This was a clash between two teams in peak form, and it definitely delivered.
Jogamo now brings this into a somewhat winnable position if Calm can try to clutch it out. The recon dart available. They spot him. They know he's on the cross. Rotates over, but the spike is stranded. There's just nothing more that he could do. The plant was never able to come in.
I mean, he could try to really make a long wrap here.
He does.
Not expecting this.
He does.
Calm. Can he do it once
Both
again?
of them looking the other way.
It's going to be the freebie, but he's going to play this out patiently. He wants to spot them both. Can he make the
That
transition?
was clean.
Yes, he can!
That's a good trigger discipline and smart choice.
Back goes
Damn.
on Flash, ends up getting gunned down, but my break! 1, 2, 3, shuts them down. 2 more rounds to go.
Oh, I gotta love the
Evil
announcers.
Geniuses will be advancing forward into the grand final. Fights
11-6.
Busio, and now it's all on Demon1. The flash across.
They came
Mindfreak
back.
about to swing the corner. He does so, and he puts him down.
Holy shit.
15-3.
PaperX came back from that?
Victory. PaperX, they advance into the grand final.
Damn.
The narrowest of losses sent EG down into the lower bracket. Against the team who had 13-0'd them earlier in the season, Loud. EG cruised to a 2-0 lead, looking to end the series early.
Oh, it's
but in
Asper's
true
team.
Loud fashion, they mounted a comeback of their own, bringing the scoreline to 2-all.
Lock off Ethan as he would go for this, but the Molly's not being invested. Not being invested.
Oh, too late, Ethan!
Timing.
A rematch against PaperX, this time with 15,000 American home crowd fans on their side.
Demon1 on the other side. Ethan's found. Mindfreak is down to 2. This could be it. Another chance for Jing. It's all over.
He just got it.
Are your VALORANT world champions?
He just got it. Now for the rematch.
23 world champions, Evo Geniuses!
This image
On
of
the
Demon1
big stage.
stood on the table after winning champions is truly iconic.
That
In
is a
less
far
than a
shot.
single season,
That is a dumb
he had
shot.
joined the league as a complete unknown, established himself as the greatest mechanical player in the game's history, and won the most prestigious trophy in Valorant.
Was that your motivation the whole time? Like the moment you got on this team, you just want to prove everyone wrong?
Oh yeah. Fuck the haters. Respect my fucking name. I'm the best player in this game.
Best player!
So how did it all go so wrong? Well, despite winning
That's the
champions,
combination of
Evil
stuff.
Geniuses were somehow still falling apart as an org, and so going into the 2024 season, it seemed inevitable that the team would break apart. Jorgamo was the
Damn.
only one who stayed on EG, with Busio going to 100 Thieves, Com going to Leviatán, and Demon1 and Ethan signing for the super team of NRG. This was an incredibly dangerous team,
super
and many
team?
touted them to win at least one international in
They don't.
2024.
Do
And with
they?
Demon1 in peak form, it seemed inevitable.
They
There
don't,
was
do they?
just one problem though. They didn't sign an IGL. Ethan supposedly was going to take up the responsibility, and although everything seemed alright at the time, that was probably their biggest mistake. The season started off well for Demon1 and NRG, as they crushed Furia and Cloud9 to go one game away from qualifying to Masters Madrid, a single elimination best of 3, against the other super team from the Americas, Sentinels.
First trip cleared, the dog went.
Oh, is this clip?
Tense does it again!
Damn, that was a energy.
Cover, there it is. Crashy Saucy, a 1v1.
Oh, he's so confident.
4 bullets left, switches weapons, time is of the essence.
What the wall bag?
And that's all it'll be. It's
That
the
tense clip.
The fans have a reason to celebrate, but tonight, Sen City burns red. Welcome to Madrid.
With 3 slots for Master Shanghai up for grabs, NRG looked poised to cruise through the first Americas split of the year and qualify for another global event. But they never even got close. After a decent start to the split, the
Shit.
team started crumbling. A lack of a true IGL meant they had no adaptability or mid-rounding, and the team comps just made no sense. Demon1 suffered the most. He was pushed to play Raze, an agent he had never played on EG, and because of his more passive
So I'm assuming by IGL is like I think it, based on what it sounds like, somebody that plays a certain role. It's like they're missing a role, and like it forces Demon1 to play a different. It forces Demon1 to play a position or role that he's not very comfortable with, where he doesn't excel. You know, it kind of hinders him as a player.
playstyle, he didn't suit this hard entry role at all. Combine that with difficulties in his personal life, and the stats he was putting up on NRG could
That's
not
bad.
have been further from the numbers he was putting up at Champs.
Not
LA.
bad in
And
stat
after a
wise, but like
traumatic split for NRG, 2 losses
not bad in stat wise. I mean bad like in the sense for like him, where you're forced to play a role that you don't excel that role. You're being forced to play that role. You're not a flex player either. Yeah.
The former teammates left Demon1 out of the regional playoffs. NRG's super team turned out to be a disaster. They needed to fix it immediately, and so NRG did that the only way they knew how, by bringing back FNS and SOM. Unfortunately for Demon1 though, that meant he was getting benched.
I did not want to get benched. I was fucking crying, depressed as shit for like a whole week straight, bruh. But nah, it was not my decision to be benched. I had nothing to do with it.
There was a lot of talk about whether or not 2024 NRG had the right roster construction, mindset, and coaching. And in hindsight, no. They absolutely didn't. But that didn't change
feels
the
like he
fact
got
that
fucked
Demon1
over.
had gone from being the Valorant Champions MVP to teamless in the span of 6 months. And his reputation as one of the most talented players seemed doomed to be ruined. That was unless he could prove his worth again in 2025. And with Leviatán losing Aspas, a slot for a superstar opened up. Demon1 was back in the league, reunited with Com from his Champions winning roster. This was a perfect opportunity for Demon1 to forget the catastrophe of NRG. Well, as long as the same exact thing didn't happen again.
If we take a look at our standings now, you'll see that the Omega group actually still has one spot open for playoffs. That's right, Leviatán and Energy. They have to duke it out to find out who will make it through.
They might get the kills,
Oh no.
but it's not going to be enough. Many believed
Thoughts,
NRG's
Energy?
story was over, but they silenced the haters.
That's
Here's
even
what
worse.
happened.
Listen to your previous
I
team.
got called in one day. Yo, we need to talk. And just,
Got dropped.
Max, we don't think you're good enough. I said, okay. Walked out.
Demon1 once again found himself benched midway through a season. He'd actually looked like one of the best players on the team towards the end of the split, but the decision had been made. Maybe aside from Ye, this was the single greatest fall-off we had ever seen from a player, let alone a world champion. At this point, Demon1 wasn't going to be remembered as one of the great players in Valorant, but only as a one-season wonder, with the best rookie year in Valorant history, and also the biggest fall from grace we'd ever seen. He desperately needed an opportunity to save his season, and then he got one.
Hello everyone, I'm Demon1, and now I'm
did?
joining DRG Valorant as a temporary stand-in player.
Oh shit.
I hope
Another
DRG
chance.
Valorant achieves
At least he's getting more
great results
chances.
at the Champions Tournament. Oh, and I almost forgot. Buy the DRG bundle.
Dragon Ranger Gaming had qualified to Champs Paris as the second seed from China, led by their Russian superstar Vukashu. He's an exceptional Sentinel player, but with him being from Russia, the visa process for tournaments is always slightly more difficult, and in the lead up to Champs, it became clear that DRG was struggling to get his visa approved for the tournament. They needed an emergency replacement, and so in quite a poetic twist, Dragon Ranger Gaming signed Demon1 for Champions Paris. This was a complete shock to the entire community, but it did make some sense. DRG have a pretty unique playstyle, where Vukashu mostly plays on an island, whether that's lurking on attack or holding down his own site on the defense. That would limit the amount of comms Demon1 would need, which was good because DRG pretty much only communicates in Chinese. It was definitely a gamble for DRG, but with Demon1's potential, there was no telling how far he could help them go. There was definitely a slight aura loss after the videos of him selling the DRG bundle surfaced.
Oh no. You better pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that shit.
But the hype was definitely there to see a world champion return to the international stage. He was on a new team though, and without match experience in nearly 5 months, it was going to be tough. And that wasn't to mention DRG's group at Champions. Heretics, G2, and their first opponent, T1.
I'll be honest with you, it didn't seem like the play. It was just, I assume he had a
T1
way
up.
out of there. Was
Oh shit.
To Demon1, alive and well it seems.
Nick, on a sliver of health, has to stand off against the off. And even then, even the classic can take
They
it
lost
down.
T1.
15 to 13, T1 climb back. Meteor, he's been the
That's
one
game
to
one,
pull
though.
them out of these bad situations, but he has to go huge here. Even
It's about to be game 2.
enough, but stacks on mid.
Oh, the whiff. And they fall to T1.
In one of the closest 2-0s in VCT history, DRG narrowly lost to T1 and was sent down to the lower bracket. Demon1 himself played decently well, ending the match with a 1.01 rating, but it was nothing special. He had one more match to show the world he belonged on the champion stage, and with an upset in the other Group D opener, G2 awaited them in the lower bracket. Demon1 against his former teammate Jorgamo, with elimination on the line.
They got to get a move on DRG. Got to try and draw these G2 players out. Draw out that utility. Demon1. That's got to feel so damn sweet. Demon1 previously won his
This
fight
is
against
crazy. God damn.
That's what I mean.
There's only one Demon1.
God damn.
Down Trent and Jaw, the last two standing.
With the head.
Has to go huge with the frenzy.
Oh, that paranoia could not have been better though. Quelling some of that aggression. Still sticking around, but these last two. Oh my God! No way!
You should not lose that round.
Like him.
You should not be losing that kind of round.
G2 have done enough to deny any upset today. Back on track for G2, avoiding
Get it dominated.
elimination.
Unfortunately for DRG though, it just wasn't meant to be, and they were eliminated from Champs Paris with an 0-2 scoreline. Demon1
Damn.
ended the match with a 0.99 rating, which meant his overall rating at the end of the tournament was 1. He definitely showed flashes of his 2023 peak, and don't get me wrong, on a team where you have literally no comms,
That's bad. That's actually really bad.
it was a very solid performance, but it was nowhere near the miracle run.
There's
some
like
thought
there's
he
a
might
lot
go
of
on.
shit.
And that leaves us at today, a pivotal moment in Demon1's career. If he has another season anything like the last two, it's likely he'll never get a tier 1 opportunity ever again. And if he relies solely on his aim and joins a team he won't enjoy playing with, I can definitely see that happening. But if he joins a team he enjoys playing with, that gives him the support in and out of game to play his best Valorant, and learns the non-mechanical skills that factor into competitive success, Demon1 still has the chance to become one of the greatest Valorant players of all time. It's just up to him whether or not he takes it. I've been Commend, subscribe if you enjoy,
We gotta watch this soon.
and thank you for watching.
Gotta check out this Paper X story too. But it's like, so basically from this video I got mainly is the fact that there's a lot of outside variable I'll say that has impacted Demon1's and shaped Demon1's career. You know, when things went well in EG with his squad, you know, people he's played with, even though he subbed in, came in, obviously Zach experienced that team. He performed. They performed, you know, he did well. Obviously he did well. And then, you know, stacked rosters or like, you know, like super teams don't always necessarily mean that it's gonna work. Like let's be honest, you know, especially when you have to flex into a role that you don't play. So it's like, you know, that's shit. It feels like those odds are stacked against you. Like, what else can you do? You know, in that kind of situation, you know, that's not who you are as a player. So that's something that's gonna mess up your image, even though it's not really fair. But I mean, it's crazy. And then the guy got into the team was with DRG, where his teammates are Chinese, and they, you know, he's filling in, and there's no comms. They speak Chinese. You know, that's, I mean, comms is a big shit in FPS games and games in general. In comms are always a big thing. And it's like, it feels like not the odds being stacked against you, but it feels like just like it's just you're literally being dealt all the worst hands ever after your first champion. That's exactly how it feels like with Demon1. That's how it feels like. Because like, yeah, maybe sometimes you're able to perform better with a team, but like, you know, when you team hop as well, you get picked up, you get dropped, picked up and hop. You know, you don't get time to build up chemistry, or you know, you don't get to practice with the team. I mean, that does go with chemistry, but you don't get to practice or learn or you know, develop strats with them. You know, you don't really get to form a packed team. You know, the other 4 members maybe do, but you need to fit into that frame, and it gets very difficult. So like, I mean, I can't say much because I don't really watch Valorant, you know, esports like that. But based on my knowledge, it's like, it feels like either Demon1 needs to change as a player himself. He needs to change completely, rework himself, which I doubt he will. He'll probably stay where, you know, is true with his skills, and that's fine. That's fine until a team, you know, he finds a team he could firmly suit in, because he's got opportunities. But those unfortunate opportunities have been too good. They haven't been well. I feel like it's been messy. I feel like it feels messy. But like, if he joins a team for like a season, like, you know, for a seasonal run where he sticks to the same team, I feel like it could probably be a different outcome. You know, where he's able to play himself. So I feel like it feels like he himself is not really a bad player. It feels like the situation around him makes him seem like he is a very bad player. That's how exactly. That's in my opinion. That's how it feels like. You know, that's how it feels like. But it's unfortunate because it happens. It honestly happens. It happens a lot, and it's not just for shooters. It happens to sports all the time, where somebody gets pushed into a team or in a situation where, you know, they're not comfortable, they can't really shine, it doesn't fit them, and then it drags their image down entirely. And it's like, damn, you know what happened? It's a circumstance that happens. It's like, it's fucked up. It's fucked up though. But hopefully, maybe he gets an opportunity with a team that he's able to fit in perfectly, and then they develop chemistry, and they shoot for next year's champs. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. In that case, you know, if it's a fair situation, and then he doesn't perform, then, you know, something with Demon1. But yeah, but besides that, Might check out that story that with Paper Rex. Might check out that story too, because this is actually good. This is actually entertaining. Like, damn, you know, some good drama, but something that you can relate to. It's not just with Valorant. It's a big collective thing with anybody that's competitive. You know, sports, esports. It's relatable. It's very relatable. But besides that, hope you enjoyed the video. Again, check out Comment's channel. I'll be leaving the link to the original video in the description below. Go support the channel. And I enjoyed this video a lot too. I will say recommend more pros, but I haven't done a pro video, so I'll probably go to the previous one and look what pros you guys recommended as well. I'll check those out. But these are entertaining. I plan on doing more of these as well. Then jump in some more Counter-Strike videos. I still want to check out streams and also play the game. But again, hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.